going on? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are talking all about Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes. ABH is one of my favorite brands. ABH is definitely my favorite eyeshadow brand. I personally collect ABH palettes. I love them. They are my favorite, but today we're going to talk about the ones that I think you should buy, the ones that are my favorite, the ones that aren't my not so favorite, and what a perfect time, just simply because this video has been on my ideas board for probably 2 months, and once I saw that Trend Mood expose that ABH is coming out with a new shadow palette for the holidays, I was like, okay, perfect, what a great time. I love ABH, I'm an ABH collector. I feel like I will get that palette just simply because I collect them. Now, as far as do you guys need it? I'm not 100% sure, because as much as I love ABH, I feel like their palettes are starting to kind of look similar. So I'm thinking if you have a couple of these that I mentioned, you might not necessarily need Sultry. So let's go ahead and get into it. My first palette that I have here, this is what I called a vault palette for me. This is the first ABH palette I ever purchased. This palette is no longer available. It doesn't even look like their current packaging. This is the ABH palette Self-Made. I bought this, maybe it was a holiday palette, I want to say maybe 3 to 4 years ago. I saw this palette and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I had just never seen anything like this. Keep in mind, makeup 3 to 4 years ago ain't what it is now. So at this point in time, this was super innovative. I hadn't seen anything like this, you know, the neutrals with the pops of colors. I genuinely love this palette. This will be a palette that I will always have. Well, all of these palettes I will always have, but this one is just very, very nostalgic for me because I remember when this came out during the holidays and I was doing holiday makeup, I used this on everybody that sat in my chair and got their makeup done for any holiday party. So this, I love this palette. Next up, the palette that I have here, everyone knows and love the Modern Renaissance palette. Don't really have to speak too much on this, just simply because y'all know. As you can see, mine is used and abused, and I've kind of been going back and forth with purchasing another Modern Renaissance, but I'm starting to realize that with their palettes, they're taking certain colors that have already been done and putting them in newer palettes, so I don't know, I might not. I've been going back and forth with it, but as you can see, I love this bad boy. This is a great palette. Next up, we have, no longer available unfortunately, but when your favorite brand and when your favorite makeup artists come together, Master Palette by Mario. When this boy came out, this was my palette for bridal. Every bride that I did, no matter if it was a bride, bridesmaid, mother of the bride, this is just the most perfect bridal eyeshadow palette. It's neutrals, yes, nothing innovative. However, if you are a makeup artist or if you're just an everyday woman, you don't like too much, this is going to be the perfect eye look. However, like I said, this one is no longer available. They should totally bring this back because this is definitely one of my favorites. Now, one of my not so favorites and a lot of people's not so favorites, ABH Subculture. This palette was just a huge disappointment. The color story is pretty. I love it. However, these shadows, especially the mattes, what they look like in the pan, they do not appear the same on me, and it was just a powdery, patchy, muddy mess. What I have started to realize since this palette, when other brands kind of start to come out with these kind of like these deep kind of green matte tones, I'm realizing across the board, those shades tend to get muddy for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. I am a makeup lover, makeup artist. I'm on YouTube talking about makeup, but I'm not a cosmetics chemist, so I can't. That's just been my observation. These shades, like these greens for some reason, they just, I don't know, they get muddy. But this is one of those palettes that I gotta have time. Like if I feel like messing around with it, playing with it, yeah, I'll pull it out. But I do not recommend this palette. This is not one of my favorite palettes, and this palette is not at all easy to work with. So my least favorite. Now another one of my favorite palettes, this is one that I recommend, and I'm gonna recommend this to the girl that loves neutrals, but you also love to have a little bit of fun, you like to have a little pop of color, you like to be a little edgy, ABH Prism. This palette, I do not use this enough. I need to leave it out on my vanity. This came out before, I want to say last holiday, and this, oh crap, is this limited edition? I can't remember. Oh, hold on. Okay, so the ABH Prism palette is available on their website. So I recommend this. This is one of my favorites. This is what it looks like. So you have some shimmers, you have some mattes, you have these fun colors over here. You've got some gold, you got some greens, you got some orange. I highly, highly recommend this palette. This palette works beautifully. I remember I used this palette last Thanksgiving on my mom when she came to visit. I did a little tutorial on her. This is just one of my favorite palettes. So I highly, highly recommend this one. The next palette that I have here is one that I recommend you pick up. This is the ABH Soft Glam, and the name speaks for itself, Soft Glam. Again, another palette that I would use on brides, any kind of bridal situation. I would use this for anyone that's doing headshots. This is one of those palettes that you can use for day and transform it to night. This is one of those all-around palettes where you can get so many different looks out of it. You can do a soft look, you can do an edgy look, you can do a dark smoky look. This is a really nice palette. And then the next palette, I have this palette and I'm neutral on it. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and that is the most recent one, the ABH North Dena palette. Again, I'm an ABH collector. That is why I picked this up. I don't think it's bad, but this isn't one of those palettes that I think you need to run out and get. This is going to be one of these this is one of those palettes where it's going to be very preference. If you are someone who is into a touch more cooler tones, or if you like those really vibrant shimmer tones, this is a good palette for you. I can see, I will say that for some reason I do feel like the shimmers in this palette, for some reason they're a little bit chunkier. I do have a review on this palette as well, so check that out up above if you're interested, but this is not one of those palettes that I recommend. Not because it's bad, just because I feel like the color story for a lot of people, like you have to, this is all preference. This is really gonna be a matter of what you like. So that's going to be it as far as my collection goes. Now, palettes, like I said, that I think you should really check out. This one, ABH Prism and Soft Glam. I think out of all of the palettes I mentioned, you can get far with these two. And the reason being is just simply because these palettes, I feel like they are not identical. Let me hold them up side by side. These are palettes that I feel like they are very different enough, and you could pull off so many, here, let's do this. You can pull off so many different looks with these palettes. Like, of course, with this one down here, you have your pops of color. Then up here, you know, you have your more everyday girl friendly. I think these two palettes are bomb, and these are the ones that I recommend. As far as the new palette, I don't have it in my hands, but as far as the new palette Sultry goes, I don't necessarily, I'm just saying this now without me holding it in my hand and swatching it and testing it out on my eyes. It's not going to be a matter of the formula, I don't think. It's just going to be a matter of, do you have those colors in your collection? I feel like if I go through and just look at all my ABH shades, I feel like I kind of already do have those. So I feel like if you have Soft Glam, then I don't think that you're gonna need Sultry. Again, this is just my opinion at the moment. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I will get Sultry just because I want to finish up my collection, and I think once I get Sultry, I don't know that I will be purchasing any more ABH shadows palettes, just not because I don't like it, but just simply because I'm to the point where I got enough, and the next palette that they come out with after Sultry is really gonna have to knock my socks off and just be totally different from what I already have. But to wrap it up, Prism, Soft Glam, the best palettes of the ABH collection. Alright guys, so that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate and love y'all. Don't forget, keep it simple, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.